The Price of Vengeance at Suncoast Penitentiary. The Suncoast Women's Correctional Facility in Florida was a monument to monotony. Concrete, razor wire, the relentless, blinding sun, and the pervasive, sterile scent of bleach that seemed to scrape the inside of your lungs. Life here was a rigid cycle. Wake up at 6 a.m., work until noon, lunch, back to work until 4 p.m., dinner, and lockdown at 10 p.m. Day blurred into week, week into year. On a scorching July afternoon, a fresh face disrupted the established order. Anya Clark, 29, arrived from an Alabama federal prison to serve the remaining 7 years of a sentence for large-scale financial fraud. She was strikingly different from the other inmates' door, graceful, with sharp, brown eyes that seemed to analyze everything. Her black hair was pulled back, emphasizing high cheekbones and a look of detached elegance. "Clark, this is your new home for the next 7 years," drawled Officer Brenda Jenkins, a woman in her late 50s with a face set in a permanent scowl, pointing to a cramped cell with 2 sets of bunks. "Your cellmate is Isabella Flores. Your uniform will be issued in an hour. Follow the rules, or you won't like it here." Anya nodded, silently placing her meager duffel bag on the lower bunk. "Hey, that's my spot, Alabama," came a voice from the corner. Leaning against the wall was a Latina with a cascade of dark, braided hair. "Isabella Flores," she introduced herself, her gaze sharp and assessing. "Anya Clark," Anya replied, calmly moving her things to the top bunk. "And I prefer the view from up here." "Alabama. Huh?" Isabella smirked. "What did you do to earn a transfer to this vacation resort?" Anya took her time arranging her few belongings. "Let's just say my interests conflicted with the previous administration's," she finally said, meeting Isabella's eyes. "And you?" "Unlicensed distribution of pharmaceuticals," Isabella shrugged. "Nurse selling painkillers on the side. 3 years down, 2 to go." Anya filed the information away. "A former nurse. Useful." The warden's office in the following days, Anya meticulously observed her new environment. The warden, Richard Hayes, was reputed to be tough but fair. The most dangerous person, everyone whispered, was the deputy warden, a severe man named Mitch Dalton. The library, she noted, offered an unusual degree of unsupervised access. On the 5th day, Anya was summoned. Richard Hayes, a sturdy man in his mid-40s with the tired eyes of a man disappointed by his own life, sat at a large desk. A framed photo of a woman and a teenager sat prominently next to his files. "Have a seat, Ms. Clark," Hayes said without looking up. "In reviewing your file." Fascinating reading. Anya sat, her posture impeccable. Her eyes quickly surveyed the room. Diplomas, a locked safe, a desk calendar with handwritten notes. "What exactly do you find fascinating, Warden Hayes?" she asked, her voice level. Hayes finally looked up, surprised by her directness. "The fact that a woman with your education and evident capabilities chose a life of crime. Bank fraud, identity theft, forgery. An impressive resume for a young woman. Life offers limited choices sometimes, Warden," Anya replied, maintaining eye contact. "Especially for a woman with big dreams in a small town." He nodded slightly. "Your file also mentions disciplinary issues at your previous facility. Manipulation attempts. Let me be clear, Ms. Clark. We have zero tolerance for that here." "I understand, sir." Anya allowed herself a faint, practiced smile. "I simply want to serve my time peacefully." Hayes studied her, his professional interest tinged with a flicker of personal attention, a subtle vulnerability Anya recognized instantly. "Your file mentions you have library experience," he continued after a pause. "We have a vacancy. It's a privileged position. Responsibility and impeccable behavior are mandatory. I would be grateful for the opportunity," Anya said. "You'll start next week. In the meantime, you must have a full medical screening. Dr. Wilson is expecting you this afternoon." The secret weapon in the infirmary, Dr. Ethan Wilson, a man with kind, weary eyes, reviewed her records. "Ms. Clark, I see you're on antiretroviral therapy, he said, looking up. 5 years, according to your chart. Yes, doctor, Anya replied calmly. I am fully adherent to my treatment. Excellent. Your blood counts are stable, but I must stress the importance of regular medication. He made a note. Who else is aware of my diagnosis? Anya asked. Patient confidentiality applies, even here. Your status is known to me and my staff. Administration has access to records, but typically doesn't scrutinize details unless necessary. Hayes might not know. Yet, Anya thought. Back in her cell, she told Isabella about the library job. The library? Nice work, Ayla babe, Isabella said, impressed. Quiet, cool, away from the chaos. You've been here a while, Isabella, Anya said, her voice dropping. Tell me about Hayes. What's his weakness? Isabella closed her book. Hayes keeps the peace, which is good. But he has a type. Power trip. Likes to spend extra time with certain inmates. You know the look. Anya nodded. That was the opening. The following afternoon, during a whispered conversation, Anya asked, You worked infectious disease, right? Isabella tensed. What are you getting at, Anya? I need an ally, Anya whispered. Someone with medical knowledge and flexible morals. That sounds dangerous. Anya looked at her, making a decision. I have HIV, she stated flatly. I got it 5 years ago from a powerful man in Alabama who raped me and used his connections to destroy my life. I lost everything. Now, I want someone else to feel that. Isabella recoiled. You want to deliberately infect someone? That's a serious crime. I'm already serving time. Isabella, Anya said with chilling composure. And my target is the warden. He's married, has a career, a reputation. The perfect symbol of the system that broke me. He's looking for a thrill. And I'm going to give him one he can't walk away from. Hayes will kill you when he finds out, Isabella whispered, fear in her eyes. I don't plan on surviving. Anya's eyes were cold and resolute. I need you to complete the plan. Pass the evidence to the right person after I'm gone. Isabella stared at her. Why should I help you? This could add years to my sentence. Because you're the only one here who understands the medical specifics of my plan. And because I have connections outside that can help you get an early release. Anya leaned closer. Besides, don't you want to watch a man who abuses his authority in here have his life utterly destroyed? Isabella thought for a long, silent minute. Okay, she finally breathed. He'll help you, not for the promises, but for the pleasure of seeing him fall. I've seen what he does to some of the girls here. Anya extended her hand. Partners, the trap is set. Anya settled into the library, transforming it with her meticulous organization. 2 weeks later, Hayes appeared. I'm impressed, Ms. Clark, he said. Officer Jenkins says you've completely revitalized this place. Thank you, Warden Hayes. Anya smiled up at him. I simply enjoy order. Hayes began visiting the library regularly. Initially, it was formal checks, but soon the visits became longer, more personal. He was clearly lonely, sharing details of his strained marriage and his disappointment with his career. Anya was the perfect, understanding confidant, creating an illusion of deep connection. You're taming him like a wild animal, Isabella noted one night. That's how you deal with dangerous animals, Anya replied, staring at the ceiling. Slowly, patiently, by creating a false sense of security. Hayes was soon spending hours in the library, locking the door behind him late in the evening. Their relationship progressed quickly, from emotional intimacy to physical in his office. On his desk, fueled by his need for risk and power. Dr. Wilson, however, was watching. During Anya's next checkup, he confronted her. Miss Clark, I must warn you, what you are doing could be considered intentional infection. A felony. Anya met his frantic gaze with icy calm. You are making assumptions, doctor. I am not infecting anyone. I'm not blind. I see the relationship, and I know your diagnosis. And yet, you can do nothing. Anya countered, a subtle threat in her voice. Patient confidentiality. Doctor. Break it, and you lose your license. Is it worth it? Wilson hesitated, then backed down, his hands tied. Anya knew she had to accelerate the plan. The confession and the finale one night, after a risky encounter in his office. Anya began the conversation. I never told you the real reason I'm in prison, Robert. Fraud. You told me, he replied, stroking her shoulder. The official version. The truth is, I was getting revenge on the man who ruined my life. The man who raped me, used his position to crush me, and infected me with HIV. Hayes instantly sat up, his face paling. What? I have HIV, Robert, she repeated, her voice perfectly calm. 5 years, doctor. Wilson knows. It's in my record, the one you didn't bother to read fully. Check your records, or get tested yourself. Though I'm afraid it's too late. We've been intimate, without protection. How many times? Hayes scrambled to his feet, grabbing his clothes. You did this on purpose. His face was contorted with shock and fury. Yes, Robert, Anya said, a cold smile touching her lips. I infected you on purpose. Now you know what it's like to have your future stolen in an instant. He lunged, grabbing her throat. He'll kill you. Maybe, she choked out, making no effort to fight. But think, what happens if your wife, your children, your boss find out? I have proof of our relationship. Letters, recordings. If anything happens to me, it goes public. The warden of Suncoast, infected with HIV by an inmate he was sleeping with, abusing his power. Imagine the headlines. His grip loosened. He released her, staggering back in panic and despair. What do you want? Nothing, Anya replied, calmly adjusting her uniform. I already have it. Justice. The next morning, Hayes called in sick. 3 days later, he returned, gaunt and defeated. He called Anya into his office. The tests came back, he whispered, his eyes lifeless. Positive. Now you know how it feels, Anya said simply. You've ruined my life. You ruined mine 5 years ago. Now we're even. You won't leave this prison alive, he finally whispered, a desperate hatred burning in his eyes. I know, Anya replied, but kill me, and the evidence I've hidden becomes public. Not just about us, but about the deputy sheriff in Alabama who started all this. Double retribution. Aftermath. 3 days later, a nervous young guard escorted Anya to a secluded utility room late at night. Inside, Hayes and Deputy Warden Mitch Dalton were waiting. Where is the evidence? Hayes demanded, his voice a broken shell of his former authority. In a safe place, Anya replied, come to the end, and you'll never find it. Kill me, and you sign your own death warrant. Davidson here will make it look like a suicide, I'm sure. How predictable. Dalton lunged, rope in hand. Hayes grabbed Anya's arms. As the rope tightened around her neck, her last breath was a whisper. This isn't the end, Roberts. It's only the beginning. Early the next morning, Anya Clark's body was found, hanged by a sheet. Ruled a suicide due to depression and her recent HIV diagnosis. Isabella Flores acted her part perfectly, screaming and collapsing. 2 days later, a package arrived at the office of Detective Samantha Brooks of the Palm Bay Major Crimes Unit. Inside was Anya's diary, photographs, and a flash drive containing detailed recordings of her plan, her relationship with Hayes, and the deliberate infection. Her final note read, when you read this, I will be dead. Don't let them bury the truth. The ensuing investigation, fueled by Isabella's testimony and the irrefutable evidence, led to the immediate arrest of Mitch Dalton, who quickly confessed to the murder. Richard Hayes disappeared but was found 3 weeks later in a Miami motel. He offered no resistance, only saying, she won anyway. The trial was a national spectacle. Richard Hayes was convicted of first-degree murder and gross misconduct, sentenced to life. Mitch Dalton received 20 years. Following Anya's evidence, Deputy Sheriff James Rodriguez of Alabama was also arrested, charged with sexual assault and intentional infection. Finally facing justice after years of evading it, Anya Clark was buried in a small, quiet cemetery. Her headstone, placed by an anonymous benefactor, bore only the inscription, "Justice has been served." Her calculated act of vengeance cost her her life, but it achieved a reckoning that the legal system had failed to deliver, exposing the dark abuses of power hidden behind the walls of Suncoast Penitentiary.